Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapito Sibili. Now, in our first story, the Auditor General is warning the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, risks not being profitable and viable if immediate steps are not taken to reduce the transmission losses. The 2020 audited accounts cite theft and high transmission losses as factors that account for a dip in revenue. ECG has admitted it bought faulty and not fit-for-purpose prepaid meters and conductors valued at almost 60 million Ghana cedis. The Auditor General wants the officer responsible for this procurement to be held liable and made to pay the amount if the meters purchased 5 years ago are not deployed. Alton Brobe has been studying the report and now reports for us.
Section 7 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 requires that a principal spending officer of a covered entity shall ensure the regularity and proper use of money appropriated in that covered entity. But according to the Auditor General, this provision was violated in the Electricity Company of Ghana decision to procure prepayment meters and hard-drawn aluminium bar stranded conductors amounting to 59.1 million Ghana cedis between 2014 and 2016. However, these items were either partially issued or have not been issued at all, but are kept in the stores till date at the time of the audit. The lapse, according to the Auditor General, was as a result of the management failure to issue the old stock before purchasing new meters. It says huge capital investment had been locked up, which could have been used for other pressing needs of the company. The report recommends to management to ensure that the prepayment meters and conductors are issued out to the users, failing which the amount involved should be covered from the officer who engaged in the procurement. The Electricity Company of Ghana, in a response, admitted some technical challenges were identified during the initial stage of installation and as a result could not be used for the intended purpose. Management, according to the report, had before the audit visit constituted a committee to engage the suppliers on the identified technical challenges, and the report is with the board for the next line of action.
While Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh has described the development as a clear case of irresponsibility.
In my office, daily, you hear MPs, go to your MP and let him write to the minister. So every day, we receive about 3, 4, 5 requests. Give me 3,000 meters for my constituents. Every day. I'm shaking, even though I'm an MP. It means two things. The constituents are willing, because they are all prepaid meters, the constituents are willing to pay for the services they consume. But we, the management, have been so bad at delivering something that even Ghanaians want. And prepayment is one example. They pay for the service before they use the service. And if the people who pay the service before they use the service are clamoring for meters, and ECG cannot deliver the meters, such that it says go to the minister, there's an abdication of responsibility. If nearly 30% of the electricity that is given to you is not accounted for through your sales, then just imagine every 1,200 or every 300 megawatts energy you claim to sell, you cannot account for nearly 100. Then it is the best business model ever, because such a company should never be in profit. Because your internal rate of return, I don't see a business that wants an internal rate of return 30% and would not be and a monopoly like you with an internal rate of 30%, you should be swimming in cash. But what do we find? ECG is always probably in debt. ECG, for the southern part of Ghana, Energy Commission has given you the license and a monopoly. Yet still, 30% of what you sell cannot account.
2 years after the mysterious disappearance of 29-year-old Ghanaian fishing observer Emmanuel Ising, police say investigations remain inconclusive. Acting Director of the Maritime Service Division of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Nana Kwabena Boache Bwampong, gave this update at a media briefing in Accra on Wednesday. Faustina Safo sat through the briefing and now reports.
Emmanuel Ising, an employee of the Fisheries Commission, was assigned aboard a Chinese vessel on the 5th of July 2019. The Magazine 15 had set sail for operations from the Tema Fishing Harbour with a 26-member crew made up of 20 Chinese nationals and 6 Ghanaians, including Ising. But at about 7 p.m. on that fateful day, crew members said while operating on Apam waters, they detected that Ising was not on board. forcing the crew to suspend fishing operations in search of him. To date, the search continues as Emmanuel Essien is still missing. Briefing the media on progress reports so far, Acting Director of the Ghana Maritime Service Division, Nana Kwabna Boachi Bwampong, says the authority hands are tied as police investigations 2 years on remains inconclusive.
Emmanuel Essien, who was deployed aboard a fishing vessel by the Fisheries Commission as an observer, we have had engagements with the family. What happens under Ghanaian law is that to declare somebody dead, you should produce the corpse of the person. Currently, the corpse of Mr. Essien are not available. Investigations are inconclusive, and so we have not been able to pronounce him dead. But subsequently, we have had engagements with the Fisheries Commission about how to deploy these observers going forward. But we are still in contact with the family.
In a bid to curb maritime crimes and ward off pirates at sea, the Ghana Maritime Authority says it is stepping up surveillance to protect inland shores. It comes as piracy activities, mainly dominant in the Gulf of Guinea, continue to spread, with Ghana at risk of an invasion. Director General Thomas Kofi Alonsi says they have so far acquired 9 patrol boats from 2018 to date to help security officials do their job.
Piracy has become a topical issue within that sub-region. The Gulf of Guinea has earned an unenviable reputation of being a hotspot for piracy. And I'm sure you have also heard of some piracy activities that border on our own territorial waters that involve some fishing vessels.
The Ghana Immigration Service has repatriated 76 illegal immigrants suspected to be internet fraudsters. The immigrants are believed to be between 16 and 45 years old. They were swooped in their hideout in the Volta regional capital, Ho. Now, preliminary investigations indicate they paid about 4,500 Ghana cedis to some individuals who promised to recruit them onto the QNet internet networking system. Addressing the press, the Volta Regional Commander of the Immigration Service, Deputy Commissioner of Immigration Peter Nanto, advised the public against falling victim to these internet fraudsters.
We keep advising you people that if you have 4,500 to give to somebody, why can't you use that money as a seed capital and start a business for yourselves? Number one. Number two, right now the borders are closed. And if you have that money, why not sit in Togo and use it to start a business? You people will go back right now to Togo. If you like, come back. I'll prosecute and jail you in Ghana. I don't see why young men like you and ladies like you cannot start something small and stay in Togo. You will break our executive law that says the borders are officially closed. You come in nothing useful to do. QNet, cyber fraud, and other matters. I can assure you, we are men up to the task. So, don't have the basic travel document to enter Ghana. They don't have. Some don't have passport, some don't have even card they don't have. They just get up through the bush and Okada, they are in Ghana.
Officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly on Thursday invaded makeshift homes of squatters under the bridges of the 3-tier Kwame Nkrumah interchange. The raid, which is part of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, is aimed at clearing all squatters who generate a lot of waste under the €74 million interchange. Manuel Kwanting was with the team and now reports.
Today we're going to tackle all junkies that anybody we find him under the bridge without any reason for you to find yourself there. the bridge, under the bridge is not a place of abode for anybody. So we get you, we put you onto the ground, you will sweep, and today we're going to make...
Head of Environmental Health Unit at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Joseph Asitanga, explaining the focus of the day's exercise. But even before the main target of the outing, the underbridge of the three-tier Kwame Nkrumah interchange could be reached, there was already so much to do.
They were urinating outside, anywhere at all. They were dumping the thing. Whom were they expecting to come and collect? They should collect their own filth.
They were immediately given brooms to get to work.
All shops, all restaurant frontages, they are responsible for cleaning their frontages. As well as bus stops, they are also responsible. Now, we got here this morning. The strategy we adopted is we came to stay around to observe, to see those who are littering. So when we stayed, we realized that even the drivers themselves, when they come, they sweep and collect their refuse and keep it tightly before they dispose it off. But the people around, they cause the mess. They drink the sachet, they throw it anywhere. They stand any place, they pee. And that is why we are taking those people to be responsible for what they are doing.
Soon, the work was done and it was time to hit the underbridge.
You see our presence here in the morning. You can testify how the place was. Yes, this is because it contains moisture. That's why you can still see this thing here. But we'll make sure that we'll follow it up with the taxi drivers to ensure that this thing, they clear it out. They have a refuse bin here. And we'll make sure that the refuse bin will translate in collecting this one. Rest everybody around there. You see from this stretch. Yeah. Yes. We're going to put them to work. So I'm deploying my people around. Anybody like these items here, they are all junkies and they are the people littering the place. All of them. We're going to pick them and bring them back to clean here. So we are arresting them. When we get a good number of them, we'll put them here.
Not even the rocks planted as spikes could stop the squatters from occupying the pavements of the 74 million euro interchange. Some slept on cardboard in the plain space and will only be awoken by the noise from AMA officials. There were piles of clothes in jute bags hidden under the metallic beams of the overhead. But they were ordered to pack out and leave.
So boss, what's your name?
Kwesi
Dati. Yeah. Why you sleep here?
Oh, we be here where they sleep.
Here where you sleep every day?
Yeah.
Oh, we here in the bed. Why in the bed here?
Everybody they feel the can bed. We do some to the bed there.
Talk to me, you don't get how.
Oh, you know, we say I don't get how, but the hustle where we did our. Oh.
You the hustle for here. Yeah. Where you from?
Me are from Maiden. We sweep the wide and that way they live.
This work, I'll let you go.
We sweep the way they live.
What did they do for here? What did they do for here?
I carry kaya you.
They carry kaya you. Where you from?
I'm from Volta.
From Volta. When you come Accra?
2016.
2016. So since 2016, you did a rooftop.
Yeah.
So where you sleep?
I sleep the cemetery side.
You sleep for the cemetery side. You don't fear ghosts?
No.
Why you don't fear ghosts?
I didn't do any bad against nobody, so I didn't do.
I don't get father and my mother in this earth. That one I live my life for the estate, and me I work the estate. I see this place if I sleep here.
Today's work alone is a wake-up call to people living within the enclave of Circle. Today is not the only day. We're going to continue to pursue this exercise. To pursue this exercise, no matter your structure, when we get you under the overpass, you are loitering around, walking around, we don't know what you're doing, we get you, we'll put you to work.
Stark contrast between the reality and what we see on the wall here. Trash goes here under the auspices of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. A 500-meter walk from this particular point reveals no available trash bin for use. So motorists, pedestrians, and even the squatters have resorted to littering the entire area. This is what has necessitated a visit by officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. For now, though, they insist they will regularize this particular exercise to get people to clean the area. How sustainable is that? It waits to be seen. Reporting for JoyNews, my name is Manuel Kranting.
And that's it for the AM News with me, Mapitsa Sibili. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com.
All right, so good morning once again, and you're welcome again to the AM show.
Yes.
And I was just smiling because Enimwa was making reference to the fact that I use 11 minutes to do the newspaper.
Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I guess, okay. There must be any more kids. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Sedinam.
Sedinam. Okay.
Kekeli.
And Kekeli?
Yes.
Oh, great. And you called to wish your mom happy birthday?
Yes.
Who put you up to this?
Me. It's us.
It's their own idea. Good morning, people. How are you guys?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. You made me cry 2 years ago. You're making me cry this morning as well.
Ah, this is nice.
Okay, go to school.
Hey.
Okay.
Is that what you tell them?
Make sure you're not late for school. Sadi Kekeli, thank you guys so much.
And we pray that you will come, you will get a lot of blessings.
Amen.
And that God bless you every day.
Amen.
And that you will become a great man.
Amen.
Amen. Amen and amen.
Amen. I'll call you guys when we finish, okay?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you, babies.
Thank you very much, Sedinam and Kekeli. And the Lord listens to the prayers
of his children. Yeah. They always, make me emotional.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. All right, let's get on with the newspapers.
Straight into the newspapers.
I'm not going to use 11 minutes to do the daily graphic.
Yeah, okay, well, we look forward to that. I'm going to start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. On the front page, Auditor General's report, DVLA ordered to recover 1.3 million cedis tax from 19 private test stations for GRA. President ends tour of Bono region. Now, the 2021 census is officially over. 99.4% of the population have been counted, that's according to the PHC, and 5 kidnappers remanded in police custody in Ketekrachi. Now, there's a story on page 3 that's very disturbing. An 11-year-old boy has committed suicide. So this happened in Atonsu Bokro in the Asokwa municipality of the Ashanti region. The little boy is identified as Otre Boateng, a class 4 pupil of the Dompoase MA primary school. Now, apparently what happened was that his grandmother asked him to go with her to the market, and he said he didn't want to. And when she came back, she came to find his body hanging from a ceiling fan. And the Asokwa police have arrested 2 sons of the grandmother to assist in the investigation. So we really would be interested to hear how this happened. I mean, 11-year-olds, committing suicide is terrifying. Anybody committing suicide is terrifying. But okay, other stories. Sanction telcos for poor service delivery. The CPA tells Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. And also, Africa News, Ethiopia is using rape as a strategy of war, which is really horrific, absolutely horrific. Algerian forests fires spread as death toll soars. It's burning in a lot of countries, isn't it, Izzy?
In Greece.
Greece as well, yeah. And then there was flooding, I think, in Australia. And then it's just a lot of things that are going on. Okay, other stories. NPA bans OMCs from selling petroleum products to third parties. 2 dead, dozens trapped in India landslide. Wow, this is an ongoing feature. Who is the founder of Modern Ghana? It's on page 9 if you're interested in that. Selling NPP ideals will make it formidable to win election 2024. NDC proposes electoral reforms suggesting splitting the EC into 2. Another interesting one there. New Cocoa Board tasked to sustain achievements in the cocoa sector. And center spread, President ends tour of Bono region. DVLA ordered to recover 1.3 million tax CDs, 1.3 million CDs tax from 19 private stations. The GMA has removed 21,000 tree stumps in 2 years from the Volta Lake. And Izzy, they're still, you know, not, they haven't changed the template yet. That campaign continues. Let's see what else we have in the Ghanaian Times this morning. Ghana Online Drivers Association organizes security consciousness training for members. The Western Region branch of the Ghana Online Drivers. Ghana Online, okay, never mind. I don't, yeah. Fishers in good catch after closed season. You remember that story about Hama Kumsin and when she went to, yes, close but it, and then open, yes, close and open. But anyway, it's open season again, and apparently they're getting some good fish. So, I mean, which is why the closed season is so important, so that we can allow the fishes to, you know, reproduce and all of that. 40% of startup businesses in Ghana do not make profit. That's according to Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. Let's do some sports. Achampong Wakaso ready for new CSL challenge. GFA takes delivery of referees kits. MTN swag digital training for sports journalists ends. The Australian Olympic athletes are facing a 28-day quarantine. Messi dreams Champions League win with PSG. Oh, that should be that should be interesting, and that should be expected of that, considering how much they paid for him and how much they are paying him every week. Yeah. And just in case, you know, you need something to panic about this morning, Messi is earning £1 million every week. Every week. Every 7 days. Like every Friday, £1 million drops minus tax.
You don't have to rub it in.
Yeah. How much is dropping in your account every Friday?
It's okay.
It's okay, all right. That's how I feel about.
We're not having that.
That's how I feel about Hearts of Oak. So well, sorry. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Adakulu Dave chips compound nearing completion, and Olam supports OLL SHS with menstrual pads. I'm not sure why the picture of the health minister is there as well. But anyways.
But were you expecting them to put menstrual pads? Let's move on to the Daily Graphic, and it has on this front page, Year of Roads, Asphalt Overlay Improved.
It's 6:38. Israel is starting the Daily Graphic review.
Okay, cool. Year of Roads, Asphalt Overlay in Progress, Accra Roads, Regional Capitals Beneficiaries, COVID-19 Protocols Enforcement at Ministries, Embrace Technology, panelists at Graphic Business, Access Bank Clinic, tell SMEs, and government investing to tackle piracy in, that's a Ghana Maritime Authority. Then on page 5, Zambia votes today, and we move on to page 9, where the Algeria wildfire story is, so we're skipping that. And health, value for money strategy launched in health sector launched. And it says the Ministry of Health has launched a 5-year health technology priority setting strategy that will help the selection of the best options regarding health interventions to boost value for money and health outcomes. The strategy is known as Ghana Health Technology Assessment Strategy, and it's the first edition. Health technology in the context of the strategy refers to medicines, vaccines, devices, procedures, and systems developed to solve a health problem and improve quality of life.
So basically the cheapest way to get things done.
Yeah.
Basically, okay.
Okay, and 2 organizations address public health issues. So moving on, and
the president has broken his silence on Achimanmi.
Yeah, but he didn't really say much. No. If you look at the story, so we have the story on the front page. Well, they have the story on my Joy Online, and essentially they're saying the president is teasing Achimanmi.
Yes.
Yeah. So he didn't really say that it was going to sack him or
nothing substantive like that.
So, and then PNC calls on president to act on health minister's conduct. And minority demands abrogation of $570 million Temamoto contract. So the minority held a news conference, and they're saying that they want that contract abrogated. Now, government has responded, and they're indicating that, well, that contract, or the ministry has responded, says that contract really, the minorities issue is that the contract should have been brought to Parliament, and it hasn't been done. And the ministry is essentially saying that, yes, we haven't brought it yet, because we are still in the process, but we will bring it to...
At some point.
Yeah.
We are waiting for you.
At some point. And the NDC is proposing that we split EC into two bodies. There's a number of proposals that the NDC is tabling. For them, it's for splitting the EC into two separate bodies, namely an office for the regulation of political parties and an electoral commission by amending the Political Parties Act. So they want to have these two, one to regulate the political parties, and then the other to take up the other functions of it's just one of many proposals that they have tabled. I mean, we encourage, these things must be encouraged, because it's the political parties making these proposals that tend to improve the electoral system. So, yeah.
And also perhaps to gain back a little faith.
Okay.
Because you know the thing about the Electoral Commission and the Electoral Commission is that the person is appointed by one government and it's for life.
Yeah.
You know, so when there's dialogue, I feel like then the opposition, you know, or the government that didn't appoint them, you know, sort of feel like, okay, this is an office that we can speak to, that we can contribute, we are heard. And so it instills confidence.
I agree.
In that office. At least that's what I think.
I agree.
So, yeah.
So improve internet coverage nationwide, Manhini urges government. That's Bafo Usu Pediak, Paramount Chief of the Domiabra Traditional Area. Access Bank commits to stronger partnership with SMEs and tap potential of northern regions as the Indian High Commissioner. Let's move on to the center spread, which is still, you know, center spread. Prepared to help fight threat of terrorists. That's the National Peace Council. And President inaugurates Bono Regional Ghana National Fire Service Headquarters and Maternity Block. And the asphalt overlay photos are on page 26. And I'm saying, so if you haven't had your area, the roads in your area asphalted yet, yeah, don't worry, wait your turn. And probably also not part of the plan.
I don't know if something like this should make the national newspaper.
Well,
that roads are being done. I mean, it seems like the bare minimum, isn't it, though?
Well, they're not really being done. They're being asphalted.
I mean, same difference. Like, point is, they are doing the road, like, and it's in the newspapers. Like, anyway,
and
okay.
It's front page. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right then.
Yeah, but yeah, it's Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay, and move on to page 32, where on education, the varsity administrators want UTAG strike resolved. So the Ghana Union Association of University Administrators has urged the government to expedite efforts to resolving the University Teachers Association of Ghana UNPAS and all other university workers fairly to avoid a total close down of public universities. Moving on, Boss board charged to address challenges hindering growth, and 44 million mobile money accounts in operation. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. And this story that I'm interested in, few celebs in GH. The rest are noisemakers. This is in the showbiz segment. And it's by movie producer Atabuachi. It says, so the story goes, thanks to social media, the path to fame has been made very easy these days. Now, people do not have to put in too much work. They can go the controversial route on social media and find themselves in the limelight. Okay, and when they go viral. Not everybody is happy with how some people have become famous so quickly or easily, especially for not for their talent, and they have spoken out against. So he goes on. This movie producer Atabuachi goes on to name a few people he thinks are celebs, and the rest of them, you're just noisemakers. That's it. And Marco Kumante engages creative industry players. That's the Deputy Minister of Tourism Arts and Culture, Mark Okreku Mante. Oh, there was one, on page 40, we have Oswald's School, Christ Ambassadors.
Aww.
They put out an advert to say thank you to all the companies that donated to Oswald or to the school and Oswald.
So there are over 100 companies across Ghana.
They've listed all of them: Professor Jenano Pukwajiman, Kidi, Dope Nation, Mr. Drew, Unilever Ghana Limited, Cake Home. Well, they're all in there.
Wow.
So you can grab a copy of the Daily Graphic.
That's so nice.
And get that. This thing, I must certainly go to it. Give me a second. I haven't done, how many minutes have I done anymore?
You've done 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay, so I'm still within time. I intend to finish this very, very shortly.
Wow.
What is this?
Okay, Israel.
Okay, so please read it.
Which one? I'm just going to go straight to the Daily Guide right now and ignore Israel, who is, oh my God.
Hail the champions.
You know what they bore? Right. Like, I'm actually wearing yellow with them. Like. Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to Chelsea as well. Chelsea got the...
They beat Villarreal yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't watching
shootout. So the two clubs that I support have made me proud. I'm
Indeed.
proud of Folk doing the double in Super Cup and Chelsea also.
But Chelsea are the champions anyway. I mean, they won the something a few months ago. No,
they won the Champions League.
That's one.
And then they played Villarreal.
The Super Cup.
Villarreal that won the Europa Cup, and then so they've got the Super Cup.
You know, my favorite thing still about football in Ghana is how people gather at the sports. You know, you see like 50 men standing, and you're wondering why are there so many men standing in one place, and you see some TV behind the sports. Like it's like 20 meters away from them, you know, like, hey, and I'm like, wow, you know. If it helps to keep the peace, you know, what can we say? But let's do the Daily Guide.
It's a great sport. I mean, we all love football.
Not all of us, but anyways. Daily Guide, especially no House of Folk. Daily Guide, front page, serial killer on the loose. So this is about the man who killed his wife. I told you that story a couple of days ago. But apparently, he was dating a lady in 2016, and she disappeared. But before she disappeared, apparently on her Facebook page, she had talked about the fact that he was abusive and she was a little bit scared of him. So the Daily Guide is tagging him as a possible serial killer. She is reportedly dead. They haven't found her, but she's reportedly dead. So hopefully the police will take that up and we'll see how that goes. NDC goes dirty upon judge's death. Very, very unfortunate story there. Ohene Chair's snit, Tinkran retained. Nana Outdoors 20-year-old abandoned fire station. Okay, some more stories. Actually, why don't we do some international stories again? Taliban back brutal rule as they strike for power. The Taliban has taken over, well, as said yesterday, there were about 7 provinces that they had taken over. They may have taken more overnight and slowly trying to get power. Which is scary. And what they're doing is they're targeting the provinces that have share border with Iran. So that's what's happening there. It's on page 5 in the Daily Guide. Ramaphosa admits rampant graft during time as Zuma VP. Sudan to transfer Omar al-Bashir to ICC over crimes in Darfur. And scale of Russian mercenary mission in Libya exposed. Okay, so private hospitals to pay millions for negligence. I mean, it's not millions, 238,500 CDs. It's not millions. I mean, unless it's old Ghana CD. Like, I mean, look. Ugh. Anyway, Minister visit rents control. So the Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, he was the one who said yesterday that the rent control the Rent Act should be reviewed and revisited. So we're having that conversation this morning because we want to know what you think about your rent. If you're renting, if you're a landlord or a landlady, if you're not like Israel and you're like us regular folk. Us regular folk, then yeah, I'm sure you can relate to the rent conversation.
Let me just drop this story. So when we said we were going to do the rent issue, then one of our camera technicians, he approached me with a letter and he said, in fact, virtually everybody here says, yes, they have a problem with rent, well, their landlord or some sort.
He
brought me a letter. He says, and the issue he raised is landlords who don't want to pay utilities. So when the bill comes, they share it amongst the tenants.
Yeah, that's what my landlady does. The one that really is maintenance. Like somehow there's no maintenance. You know, maintenance is your responsibility. So yeah, something is spoiled in the house, whether it's the gate, the wall. I'm going to fix it and I'll bring you your bill. So yeah, people do a lot of things. Tenants,
so they don't pay electricity, they don't pay
water. Of course not. I mean, the argument is that you are using the electricity and the water.
But the landlord is also using it.
Yeah, no, so they'll divide it. If there's 4 people in the house, they'll divide it into 4, regardless of whether there are 6 people in this apartment, 2. It's not that kind of, you know, we don't ratio it like that.
No, but in this case, the guy is saying that the landlord stays off. I mean, the guy doesn't take a shit.
She doesn't bath. She doesn't. I mean, I'm sorry, there's no other argument. Thank you for interrupting me, Israel. The middle page of the Daily Guide, Wuta Group fight over split. Eminem's ex-wife hospitalized after suicide attempt. I don't know if you've been following the whole Amarado and Obibini thing. That's
some beef.
Yeah, well, yeah. Face off in latest rap battle, so good luck to them. Okay, other stories quickly. Survivor of Qatar's attack seeks help. Calls for Oforiatta's resignation is needless. Transform Africa pledges support. And Hima Mercy thrills at Tehila Experience 2021. And all sets for Touching God's Summit. On the back page, Hearts coach...
okay.
Hearts coach targets African glory. Champion Wakazo inspires Shenzhen League playoffs. Messi sure of PSG champs league success. Mad rush for his #30 shirt. And Abu Jones laid to rest. May his soul rest in peace.
All right, so let's move to the Daily Statesman now, and calls for a resignation of Ken Ofori-Atta needless, and CSO's caught in anti-Ghana agenda. Leaked audios expose plot to scuttle GNPC's plan to put Ghanaians in full control of oil resources, and it has to do with GNPC increasing its stake in the ACA AGM petroleum thing. Now, so the Statesman is saying that leaked audios, but if you go into the story, it's actually a Zoom meeting between so there's a platform of CSOs in oil and gas. They've had a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And they're discussing how to, you know, discuss or bring more light to bear on, or throw more light on the issue.
Okay.
And of course, some will agree, some will disagree, but yeah, they've lumped them all together and saying that leaked audios exposed to expose flood to scuttle GNPC's plan to put Ghana. But yeah, I mean, but if you look at the people on mentioned in the Dr. Yao Graham, Nafi Chinri, and Samuel Bekwe, they're people I know personally, and I've been part of such conversations before. In fact, Dr. Steve Mantel, who is also a member, he does not agree. He feels that, yes, let's put... And the people who are on there don't disagree that GNPC should be in charge. The issues they're raising has to do with how much GNPC is buying the stake for. So they don't disagree that GNPC should be put in charge.
So basically, it's a little bit sensationalist, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's unfair to go this way. All right, so that's it for the Daily States.
Oh, wow, are you sure? Okay, The Business Finder, avoid crisis on labor fronts, patronize Maiden Ghana goods to sustain 1D1F, according to Dr. Kofi Mensah, the MD for ADB. Don't politicize petroleum issues, NPA boss. Okay, a couple of other stories. GSS UNDP to train journalists on stats. Oh, statistics. I failed statistics at KNUST. It was just, okay. SMEs urged to document and register businesses. So I'm just saying, if you fail stats in school, you can still make it in life.
Oh, yes, you can.
Ghana, fastest internet speed in Africa. Okay, Nestle undertakes tree planting. Oh, businesses of 2 Makola fire victims restored. Oh, we love to hear that. That's amazing. And, the scarce commodity called gratitude.
Oh.
That's interesting,
Okay.
yes, by Daniel Delali Achivi. Good morning, Delali. I'm sure it makes for a great read, and that's in the Finder.
Okay, so we go to BNFT, and high food prices in the north pushes inflation up again to 9% July, and it's coming from 7.8% in June. And actually, the Ghana Statistical Service also mentions transportation as well as contributing to it. SEC assures of renewed confidence in markets, urges investors to take advantage. Short selling of securities is coming. Seed supplies threaten to hit the streets. And what is good for Ghana must be good for the industry. That's David Ampofo, CEO of the Ghana Upstream Petroleum Chamber. And yeah.
Is there a downstream petroleum chamber?
Yes. So the upstream is the oil exploration and, you know,
It was a joke, but yeah, never mind. Okay. Okay, Israel, if you must give me a lecture
and the
this
downstream is the
okay.
all of that, the petroleum retail.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially. Okay, Bank of Ghana partners GISEC and Devrient to pilot ECD. Mexican Embassy unveils logo for 60th anniversary of Ghana-Mexico relations, and essentially that'll be a better. And on the back page, Oforiata swears in SEC, GRA, SNIT boards, and President unveils 7.3 million CD rice processing factory at Savalogo.
Savalogo. All right, should we go to the online, My Joy Online? Okay, see what's happening there this morning.
All right, and well, if we're here to get to that, maybe I should just skip to something else. And oh.
Wow. I just see faces of people I know. Oh my God.
Let's unmute them. Guys, unmute. Let's hear you.
Happy birthday, Tenwa. Happy birthday, Tenwa.
Hi, guys.
Happy birthday, Tenwa.
Wow, unbelievable.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nana Kofi. Hi, guys. Nana Kofi, your children are plenty, Papa. Hi, guys.
Okay, so tell me about tell me about the two people on the screen.
Okay, so Nana Kofi is happy birthday to
Yes,
Nana Kofi is one of my best friends, and we are in Roverman together.
Yes, Nana Kofi. I've seen Nana Kofi on Roverman play.
Yes, so is Nisaki. Nisaki is also
on
stage Roverman. He's my little brother, very troublesome, special.
Oh, your little brother.
No, my little brother, like I've adopted him because nobody wants him.
Oh, aren't you lucky?
Happy birthday to, love you guys. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I know you heard that. Thank you guys.
Oh, but Nana Kofi, where's your wife?
Yeah, where's Aku?
She's traveled.
Oh, okay.
To where? The kitchen.
Hey, anyone, mind your business.
But my regards to her. So she was my mate at Greenhill College.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah,
I see.
That's true.
Oh, you know that.
Okay, so thank you very much for surprising Nimwa.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.
Bye. Bye.
But it's true. His children are plenty.
Yes.
Nana Kofi.
Kofi just give him back.
Procreator General.
Wow, Israel. Wow. Okay. Throwing shade this one. Can we do the My Joy Online or no? No My Joy Online this one.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So as we're taking a break on the AM show, we have more to come. The rent conversation, we haven't even started that. So do stay tuned. And up next, we're bringing you sports.
For several decades, there have been questions surrounding the competition of Ghana football, with many claiming that most matches in the Ghana Premier League and other competitions under the umbrella of the Ghana Football Association are fixed. Well, President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, has warned that if you've ever found yourself fixing any of their matches, you will be coming under the full rigors of the law. And a president of the Ghana Athletics Association, Mr. Fafalbik Ababu, has been speaking, calling on the government of Ghana to invest in athletics and other sporting disciplines he described as least financed sport. And yesterday, Chelsea needed to go through a lottery of penalty kicks to defeat Villarreal to win the Super Cup. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai, and I welcome you to AM Sports here on the AM Show. Let's start with the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, who has moved on to warn people who are engaging in betting and fixing matches in the Ghana Premier League and other competitions under the umbrella of the Ghana Football Association. According to him, he is determined to protect the products of the GFA and has warned that anyone found culpable will face the full rigors of the law.
The just ended Ghana Premier League season was per media reports infiltrated by betting companies, which led to many matches of convenience. On match day 34 of the football season, the match involving Inter Allies and Ashanti Gold had a defender of Allies, Hashim Musa, scoring 2 deliberate own goals and later explained that there were reports that the match was fixed. The Ghana Football Association initiated steps to investigate and eradicate a situation many say has become endemic. The FA engaged the Police Criminal Investigative Department to help find the perpetrators of these betting acts. Following that move, President of the football governing body, Kurt Okreku warned that his administration will come after the people who engage in fixing matches to face the full rigors of the law.
If you are here and you know that you played a part, just be ready. Don't call me because you didn't call me when you wanted to play the role. Don't call me. And those who are calling must stop. Those who are calling phone regarding betting must stop. To quote the former president of America, we will chase them out of their hiding places. Bring them to justice.
Mr. Okreku also promised to protect the sanctity of the association's products.
I will not shy away to say this. Our football has and was attacked by faceless cowards. I'm talking about betting. I'm repeating myself. Our sport has been attacked by faceless cowards. And it is my responsibility, and it's the responsibility of our executive to defend the passion of the nation. Everybody who has played a part, I'm talking about the faceless cowards, will face it. We'll clean our sports and we'll bring confidence to a sport that fits me, that fits all of us here. A sport that gives hope, aspirations to the entire 30 million people and beyond of this country.
The Ghana football season ended about 2 weeks ago, with Hearts of Oak winning the double, that is, the Premier League and the FA Cup.
And the president of the GFA, Kurt Okreku, was speaking at the launch of the maiden edition of the Division 1 Super League. Now, let's talk about CK Akono, who will be naming his squad on Friday for the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers. My colleague Hans Mensah Andor has details.
The Black Stars head coach will name his squad for next month's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 qualifiers against Ethiopia and South Africa. The Black Stars are scheduled to host Group G opponent Ethiopia on Friday, September 3 in Cape Coast, before playing Bafana of South Africa on Monday, September 6, 2021 in Johannesburg. Akono will address the media on Friday, August 13 at a conference room of the Ghana Football Association. Among the players expected to make the cut are skipper Andre Dede Ayew, his brother Jordan Ayew, and Daniel Amate. It is unclear if Thomas Partey will be named after his recent injury in a pre-season game against Chelsea. Akono is also expected to name a number of locally based players, among them Efriye Barnier of Hartlefolk and his teammate Richard Atta. Akono is a man on a mission after the Black Stars failed to make the cut for the 2018 FIFA World Cup.
From football, let's talk about athletics now. And the president of the Ghana Athletics Association, Afelbik Ababu, has called on the government of Ghana to invest in all sports to ensure that the performance witnessed by Ghanaians in the just ended Tokyo Olympic Games is extended when the team represents the country in the next edition of the Olympics and other subsequent competitions. He was speaking to my colleague, Mubarak Haruna.
Everybody was okay with the conditions at the place and every logistics that was provided. And so everything went on well for us. We are hoping that with the needed support, come next year, Commonwealth Games and then 2023 African Games, and then France 2024, if we put our heads together and we plan very well, we can achieve a lot in the coming years. We only need the logistics and then the support for the athletes, for their training, and especially competitions. With athletes and sports in general, if you continue training and you don't go for any competition, you cannot assess yourself. And so if we get the logistics to be able to put the athletes to competitions in all the disciplines, not only athletics, but all the disciplines, if we are able to support the athletes to go for competitions, it will improve their performance and then we'll get the results that we need.
Afalbik Ababu replaced Professor Francis Jodu as president of the Ghana Athletics Association effective August 8 following his decision to resign as president of the Ghana Athletics Association. Now let's talk about para sports, who will also be representing the country in the upcoming Paralympics to be staged in Tokyo. My colleague Oriko Ampofo has been with the team as they paid a visit to Luton Council to discuss the possible development of physically impaired sports.
So we're here at the Luton Town Hall to witness the maiden meeting between Ghana's National Paralympic Committee and then members of the Luton Council. The main agenda for today's maiden meeting is to ensure that things are put in place in terms of this partnership, looking at ways in which Luton's Council can help Ghana's National Paralympic Committee, looking long-term and then short-term as well, to be able to help Ghana's National Paralympic Committee secure sponsorships, get different funds, and then get the much-needed support to elevate the sport back in Ghana. The meeting was graced by quite a number of dignitaries from Luton. The mayor-elect Councillor Mahmoud Hussein, ex-mayor of Luton Maria Lovell, Councillor Jackie Bernard, Councillor David Agbole, Chairman of Ghana Society UK Bishop David Foamweni, and Francis Edubate, who is the youth chairman of Ghana Society UK and the director of sports, were all present at the Luton Town Hall. Ideas were shared on how Paralympic sports in Ghana could be promoted and improved. Maria Lovell, who is the ex-mayor of Luton, explained why they were interested in supporting the National Paralympic Committee in Ghana.
So yes, it's to support the National Paralympic Committee and their aims and vision, to promote and create awareness for persons with disabilities to be included, in sports and to work towards the Commonwealth Games 2022. So, in a nutshell, that's, why we're here today. The seed is already been planted from the National Paralympic Committee in Ghana, to create awareness and for us to look at persons with disabilities in a more positive light.
The partnership between Ghana and Luton for developing sports in Ghana is a long-term one that the West African country would be benefiting from. President of the National Paralympic Committee Ghana, Samson Dean, reviewed that steps have been taken for Luton to host Ghana during the 2022 Commonwealth Games.
We are lucky that 2022 Birmingham is hosting the Commonwealth Games. And fortunately for us, as the mayor said earlier in the meeting, that Luton has made a lot of arrangements to make sure that Ghana is based here in Luton as a host town arrangement. As you are aware, when we talk about host town is where Ghanaian team will be based, train, have a cultural events, have a lot of meetings with regards to trade and others. So currently, we are happy to have met Mayor, we are happy to have met the people of the council, and we are also happy to continue the project.
So that wraps it up for day one in terms of the potential partnership between Luton's council members and then Ghana's National Paralympic Committee. Now the ball has been set rolling in terms of discussions on how to improve the sport back in Ghana. My name is Ore Kuwampofo, reporting from Joy Sports from the Luton Town Hall.
So you're welcome again to AM's show, and we've come to the conversation we've been telling you all about all morning. And joining us for the conversation is Emmanuel Hovik-Posu. He's a PRO of the Rent Control Department. And then we also joined via Zoom Christian Malm Hesse. He's a lawyer. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Israel. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning
to your viewers.
Yeah, and it's great to have you on the show. So we're getting into the conversation in a bit, and I want us to start with Mr. Posu, who's in the studio with us. So thank you once again for making time to speak with us. So
it's a pleasure being here.
Each time rent issues come up, it's an emotive subject, and people have their stories. I was talking about one of my colleagues here who said in the house where he lives, the landlord says, look, when the bill comes, the utility bill comes, they don't even get to see it.
Wow.
And then the landlord will tell you, okay, you're paying this much, you're paying this much, you're paying that much. But they don't even know what the bill is.
Yeah.
And he challenged the landlord, and the landlord says, I don't like your conduct. And so he's giving him an eviction notice.
Of course, more, yeah. I mean, but I feel like it's the slogan for most landlords because of the scarcity. When it comes to properties, affordable properties, it becomes a cost more, yeah, situation. You know, hashtag.
Okay. No, but
what does the law say about an instance like
something like that?
Okay. Before answering that, tenants should know that the law is there to protect them. If you've not committed...
that is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem the landlords also have. They're saying the rent control department has become essentially the tenant control department. Yeah. And so they also want landlord control
departments.
Okay, so I just said that because the law is there for both landlords and tenants. Let me clarify this.
Okay.
But that aspect of you, if you can't move, if you can't evict, that's where the point I'm saying the law supports or protects the landlord. If you've not committed any offense under the act, that landlord can come to the rent control department and ask for order of eviction. The issue is that if an offense is committed by any tenant, the landlord has no right to forcefully eject that tenant out of the premises. You have to come to the rent control department, apply for order of eviction. We invite the two parties, do an investigation. If an offense has been committed, we will order the tenant out of the house. The issue about utility, most landlords are taking advantage. After they've collected the rent advance and then they finish chopping in quote, then they use the utility, which comes monthly. You see, when the utility bills come, it's your duty as a landlord, if it passes through you, to even appoint one tenant to take charge of it. If you are part of the usage, you should be part of the paying. So what you do is you show the bill to every member of the premises. Then you, based on the point or based on the agreement you've come with, then you share it accordingly. So landlords who are putting their bills under their carpet or under their bedrooms, then coming out with their own rent, you are not the generator of the water, you are not the generator of the electricity. So why do you take advantage of people? Apart from the rent advance that you've taken, based on the structure you've put down, and then you've collected somebody's money, you don't have the right to take any other utility as your profit for the building you
does the Rent Control or the Rent Act actually indicate or speak to this particular issue, the utilities?
No, specifically the Rent Act does not speak specifically.
All right.
But in general terms, it should be a mutual agreement between the landlords and then the tenants.
All right, let's get to Christian on Zoom. Christian, What do you have to say about this particular challenge that my colleague is facing, where when it comes to sharing or apportioning the utility bill? Hello, Christian, you'd have to unmute. All right, we're having some challenges with Christian's connection. So let's continue with the conversation. But so there are a lot of things that have happened. The Rent Act was promulgated in 1963. Yeah. And, well, it's high time something was done about it. And I was just indicating the conditions under which, pertaining at the time, or the circumstances pertaining at the time, are completely different.
58 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure at the time there was some adequate government housing, probably where you'd have the state or the company where you're working for providing you some housing.
And maybe not as much demand. Yeah.
The issue is that even 1963 is even closer. Rent control started since 1942, even before independence.
Okay.
So the problem of controlling rent has been there ever since. But there are relevant sections, relevant provisions in the Act that are still enforceable. The issue about you finishing building your premises, not dwelling in yourself, but I want to rent it out, you need to have an assessment certificate. The rent control department has to come, or the rent magistrate has to come to your premises, look at the premises you've built, and see whether it's tenantable, as we always say. Look at the materials you've used. Of course, we don't use 1963 land price to determine how much you have to charge. We don't use 1963 iron rod price, to determine how much rent you should charge. We use current information, current economic situation, to determine how much. What is interesting, some landlords who are collecting some rent, after the assessment, they realize that they should have collected more. So I don't know where the fear is, that when you come to rent control for the assessment, we are going to scrutinize your operation. Of course, there are certain things you have to do. Before you give a premises out, you have to issue the person, the prospective tenant, as we call them, a tenancy agreement.
Yeah.
Tenancy agreement is not an imposition you are going to impose on somebody. It's a mutual agreement. So when you register it, which the law demands you, under the PND, the Rent Control Law 1963, Section 4, it demands that as a landlord, after the tenancy has been signed, you need to register it. For us as rent control officers or the magistrate to go into it and see whether you are not infringing on somebody's human right.
You know, when you indicated that if you have a property you want to rent, you should contact the rent control department, and then they'll come and see if it's tenantable. I saw any muggling. I mean, I was also giggling. I know what's on your mind.
Okay.
Anyone?
Okay.
I mean, it sounds really good again on paper, but I don't know. Like I said, cost more, yeah. It really is. And I mean, over the past maybe 3-4 years, as I've looked around, for houses, so I've had friends who are renting, there's a certain power that landlords have, which is almost like, well, we don't have to succumb to anything, because honestly, if you can't, go.
Yeah, this is the perception.
Hold on for me. I want to bring in Christian. Christian, I guess your line is a lot better now. Okay, so I was asking, what does the law say, or what would you have to say about this situation where landlords are essentially taking advantage of the tenants when it comes to the apportioning of utility bills, especially in situations where they have like a common meter?
Yes, I mean, the law has not expressly stated the sharing ratio. So just as the rent officer in there said, in the absence of an express provision would mean that there should be a communal sharing, which would dwell or would be hinged on full disclosure and common understanding.
All right, great. Now, I'm sure you've encountered lots of people coming to you and indicating that they have a problem And it's not just the tenants, actually. So they have a problem with their landlords, and then they also have a problem with their tenants. What are some of the common issues that come up? Christian, all right, it looks like Christian his connection is still a challenge. But what are some of the common issues that come up?
So, day in and day out, most common is tenants who are not being able to pay their rent. We understand because of the economic situation in the country. So a lot of landlords have brought a lot of tenants into our premises for non-payment of rent. Also, on the part of the tenants, is inducing tenants to quit, even if their tenancy have not expired. Just because the landlords, just as my sister just said, they have the notion that they have the power. But you don't have the power when you put your premises on the commercial platform to rent. If you build your premises and you want to dwell in personally, you want to give it to your family member, no act infringes on you.
All right.
But when you put it on the commercial platform, there are rules and regulations that must guide you. And this is the law. The law says that you have to do A, B, C, D if you put your premises on a commercial platform.
One of the things you indicated is that you have to come to the rent control for them to see whether the property is tenantable.
Yes.
What do you mean by tenant?
Okay. So the basic definition is if the place can be dwelled in. If somebody can stay in that premises. Or you can't just put any structure in there and then put advert that place for rent. The place must have some basic facilities, some basic ingredients in that premises, that when the person comes to stay in there, the person will not find him or herself wanting. The basic thing is electricity, water, and then toilet facility. Of course, we understand there are commercial or general facilities like that the tenant can patronize. But those basic 3 facilities must be in your premises. This is what we check when we come to do the assessment.
I'll be coming to you to ask what you make of, or does the law also cover containers and kiosks and all of that?
Okay.
But we have Christian back on the line. Christian, we want to try again. Hopefully this time we can get to hear from you. Please speak to us.
Yes. Sorry, the weather I think is messing up things. Yeah. So.
All right, sorry about that. So yes, I was asking what are some of the common issues that come to your attention?
Oh, basically, common issues has to do with the rent recoverable, that's rent outstanding, determination of rent, breach in obligations, that is either from the landlord or from the tenant, and recently to inducement to quit tenancy. So these are the main things that come up with respect to rent issues. But I would start off to say that rent matters in Ghana are regulated, just as we all know, by the Rent Act. It is also covered by the Rent Control Amendment Law, that's PNDC Law 163. So and then recently with the proclamation of the New Land Act. So these are the things that govern rent matters and its subsidiary legislation. So these are the things that regulate rent matters in the country.
All right, thank you, Christian. Now, I was asking earlier, does the rent control or the Rent Act actually also factor people who are having to rent kiosks and containers? And
So, under the Rent Act, apart from government properties, government bungalows, government stores, and those things, any other property which is private that is under rent is covered by the Rent Act.
Okay.
Being kiosks, wooden or metal, being a bungalow, being an apartment or premises, all are covered by
kiosk container. Yes, you're supposed to have some basic things.
Yes.
But many of these kiosks and containers we have around, they don't have water. They don't have
toilet facilities. They don't. No, they don't.
Most often they also don't have electricity.
Okay. So just as I mentioned, when we look at such premises, we look if they are an adjacent general facility, like the public toilets, for instance. There are public water supplies. And then when it comes to electricity, you can use, if you want light, you can use other means apart from electric light.
So these things are not a base, they are not like a requirement. You don't have to have electricity, you don't have to have toilets.
No, it depends on the structure we are talking about. If it's a well-furnished premises, then those three basic things must be there. But when we consider kiosks, containers and those things, then we consider those general amenities for them to support such things. Exactly.
But I mean, it's not tenantable. Putting someone in a container and the person is taking rent, and you allow the landlord to take rent from someone who's in a container.
When we talk, the tenantable definition is whether the person can sleep there. Okay, so if
that's
the person,
tenantable, if you can sleep there.
If you can sleep there, and then you can have other means of those facilities. Of course, we don't.
I saw Christian nodding. Christian, you have a point to make.
Yes, I was just trying to point out that there are no express provisions in there. I mean, as you say. So, I mean, once the person has that infrastructure, you look at section 1(2)(a) of the Act. Just as it started off, it deals with the rent deals with facilities, whether it involves premises, buildings, or structures, and also whether it is partially or impartially complete. And it does not, you don't necessarily need to have electricity and all of that. Once it is in a good condition for you to give out, it is good to go, because they are not expressly provided in it that you need to have electricity, you need to have that. I mean, let's just travel down to some rural areas, and all the things about the three basic things he's mentioning, probably you could find none of them existing. Now we're saying that it will not qualify for rent. And if you look at our definition of lease or rent, those basic things he's mentioning does not come into the case law definition or the statutory definitions. So the practicality aspect of it is that it needs to be in a good condition. So if it is a kiosk, like you are saying, or a container building, the basic condition and the most important thing is the contractual obligations between the parties and the jurisdiction that rent control would have over, in order to ensure that the rent recoverable and obligations of the parties are met as far as the statutory provisions is concerned. And that is the interest of the law, and not basically the basic things he's talking about. But the basic things are desirable for human life to triumph. And that one is very essential. But I mean, if you travel down, not too far even from main Accra, you find certain conditions not having them. And do you hold the landlord culpable? No, probably the area is not even, it does not have even electricity, or they don't have water. You know, but the condition of life is what is important.
All right. But thank you very much. It's an eye-opener. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know, I'm in Accra and I'm thinking, okay, in the whole of the country it's like Accra. But yes, you're right. It's not, because you can go to some villages where it's a hut. Yeah. And you can rent the hut. You know, it doesn't have electricity, it doesn't have any of this.
And bath in the river.
And bath in the river, and that's the. So actually, before we got into this one, we went out there to get to speak to some members of the public about the issues they've been having as far as rent is concerned. So let's get to listen to some of them.
I would like to urge the government to do when it comes to rent is that they should try to enforce a law that will make at least tenants be able to pay at least 1 month on a monthly basis, so that people can be able to cope with it, because the cost of living is very expensive in Accra, so people cannot afford 1 year or even 2 years, and people have to go and do a lot of things to get the money, suffer and get the money. So if government is able to reduce to a law that will make it so that you pay monthly. It will help the ordinary Ghanaians to be able to also save and use it for the other projects. Because sometimes people go out to hustle and come back, so they need a place to lay their head. So if they're able to get a place, if you have a place of you can sleep, it gives you a peace of mind. But if always you also have to be thinking about rent, like it distracts you and cannot let you move ahead in life because there are a lot of projects you also have to accomplish. So you have to build house, some also have to build established families and all those things, schooling and all those things. All these things cost money, and I think rent is taking about 50–60% of all this. So if rent is taking about 50% of your, it makes your life go downward.
I want the government to do something about rent issues. At the moment, we can't pay our rent, and the manner the landlords demand their money is bad. The government can build affordable houses at lower rates. It will be really helpful. For now, if you are going to rent, the landlords demand up to 2 years rent advance. Meanwhile, your salary is not even enough. At the end of the month, you are paid 1,000 cedis, while the landlord is also demanding 2 years payment. So when will you gather that amount of money to sum that up? When it happens that way, the rent takes all your money. I think the government and the landlord should negotiate so that every month we will pay our rent, because with the 6 months of advance, and if the person has just started working, then where is he going to find all those monies to rent?
Because 6 months now, or no, so I feel that nipa na start a juma. Say scan no benya we now or they are to your rent no. It is a fair for no so benya to go say no me said the busumi be aja ketuya no nanka we to your rent no. Meji this samum na omo ye beboa.
To me, dear, we will rent a house. I have lived in a rented house for 3 years. For some landlords, when it's time to pay the rent and you don't pay, they put a lot of pressure on you. The 6 months rent advance is better than a year because for 1 year, it could be around 2,000 cedis and over. And it's very disturbing when you're unable to afford it.
1 year, no. Say, no, 1 year, now we're about 2,000, now 2,000 plus, now 3,000. Now, one to just ask Canua.
The issue concerning rent is I would like if government would talk to the landlords to be able to take the rent like a month. You see, sometimes when they take the rent like 2 years in advance, 1 year in advance, people cannot be able to pay. So this leads to people sitting by the roadside, sleeping in kiosks, sleeping in containers. So if like the government can reach a contract with the rent control to talk to the landlords to be able to take it like on a monthly basis, I think it will help. Like let's say for example 6 months, 1 year, maybe 1.5 months, it will help. Because if you want to wait, sometimes you go to the landlord and he will tell you that you should go for like 2 years advance, and somebody will not be able to have that money to pay 2 years advance. But if you can come down to like 6 months, I think it will help. The hardest part of rent, it's one thing is that you'd have to be nice with the tenant, nice to the landlord. If you have maybe something happens and then they don't like it and then you express your concerns, it's as if you are against the landlord, and it shouldn't be so. We have freedom of speech. Everybody's entitled to express his or her mind. But some of the rent control is one thing I know about it is that you can pay for a month. When you're starting, you should pay a month, or then the next month you pay again. You shouldn't pay in advance. But here in Ghana, in Accra for example, if you pay a month, you will not be allowed. And then also to let's say the landlord doesn't want it from the house, he wants you to pack that moment, and it shouldn't be so. The laws concerning rent says that you should wait for like 3 months before you can leave the house. So I think if that can be watched, it will help.
All right, so thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. And very interesting comments coming up anywhere. For instance, if there's an issue in the house, you have to take the side of your landlord. You dare not take any.
No, unless you want to be homeless. You haven't seen some before, eh? I see.
But there's freedom of speech.
No, there's also freedom of moving out. Like, no, for Shizi, Izzy, you haven't felt the pain that we feel. Like, your landlord can literally just make your life hell. So the path of least resistance is to agree, smile, and give it to Jesus. Basically.
Anyway, we put out the post on Facebook, and we're getting a number of comments coming. So we asked, what do you want government to change about rent? And share with us. So there, AJ says, I want the government to change the name affordable housing and name it ordinary housing for easy purchase. If more of these houses are built in various regions and with reasonable prices, high rent rate will go down. Okay. Government should first build houses for rent, then we take it from there. Oh, you want government to build the houses for rent? And Wisdom Seleza says the rents are too expensive and 2 years advance is also too much.
All right. Diego says cost building materials are very expensive. Albert says we talk, son. The government no they do anything. Oh, Charlie. Rita says to regulate the rent amounts. Nene Tay says, does the government do anything about rent? Evans says government can't do anything. Bayowa says, did we have that kind of government? Anthony said, but has the government built a house for someone? Wow. Sadiq, the 2 years advance payment is robbing youth of savings. It should be checked. Maliki says, nothing completes the Saglami house so people can rent. Nothing. Complete the Saglami housing so people can rent. Avotri says they should regulate prices of building materials. Mary says government should build more affordable houses. Only then will rent charges plus advance payments automatically drop. Laws don't work if you force the hands of landlords. They'll evict tenants and lock their doors. Corruption always sets in when the demand is high. Minister says he should build more affordable houses to compete with the FIRA for, again, one man, one land. 1D, 1F, one man, one land. Gideon Abe, it should be on monthly payments and not the 2 years advance payments. It appears that one stays for 24 months just to pay rent. What happens to the other obligations that have to be met? To me, is preposterous and wickedness. Let me ask you a question. This 2 years thing. You know, I think that it's against the law, isn't it? The mandatory 2 years. Do you want to just clarify for us what the... But the point is that, you see, when you are going to rent, and you go to a landlord and they say, oh, me here 2 years. And you are now...
Why are you saying me here 2 years?
I'm collecting 2 years.
Major 2 years.
I'm because my landlady is gone, so I'm reliving my conversation. I'm collecting 2 years rent. And you come and, well, the rent acts da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They'll just look at you and say, oh, okay, no problem. That's it. You won't get a house.
No, you see, the interesting aspect of this issue is that the landlords are suffering in collecting these 2 years. Because this tenancy period, anything can happen. And if something happens, you've collected the money and you've chopped already. The person lived there just for 4 months or let's say 6 months. The rest of the 1.5 months or years that you have to cough for refund.
You don't know how. Wait. They don't cough for refund.
No.
When you say you are leaving, then they'll tell you that, okay, Besa no me, you wait. When I rent out the house, then I will give you your money. If you don't like, you can go.
Okay, so specifically, under Section 25, subsection 5 of the Rent Act, with your permission, say any person who has a condition of grant, renewal, or continuance of a tenancy demands, in the case of monthly or short tenancy, the payment in advance of more than a month's rent, or in the case of a tenancy exceeding 6 months, the payment in advance of more than 6 months' rent, shall be guilty of an offense and upon conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 10,000 cedis or a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years. Okay, so this is it. We have short tenancy and long tenancy. Short tenancy is tenancy below 6 months. So the law demands that you, the landlord, should collect monthly until the person's tenancy expires. If it's a long tenancy that exceeds 6 months, 2 years, 3 years and above, you have the right or you have the obligation to sign the tenancy agreement for the person for that period of time. But when it comes to the payment, it should be a maximum of 6 months if you want it blocks. 6 months blocks until the person's tenancy expires. So within the period, if the person has signed a tenancy agreement with you, you have no right to forcefully induce that tenant from your premises. Under Section 27, it talks about offense to induce tenants to quit.
Do you know, it sounds very nice.
That's the empowerment we are giving to tenants.
No, I want you to feel my pain. It sounds very, very, very nice. I have never met a landlord or a landlady who has said that, oh, this is the rent I take, okay, 6 months. I have never seen it. And you see, my thing is, as soon as you say, oh, well, the rent, this, so I'm going to rent control, all they'll tell you is that, go, I won't give you the property. It's not by force. At the end of the day, it's my prerogative whether I want to give you the house or not.
That's the empowerment.
That's the law. I mean, if you go to the landlord and the landlord says, no, I won't give you. So you're talking about rent. Okay, I won't give you the place. What can the law do about it? Let me put that to Christian. Christian, what will the law have to say, or what does the law have to say about a situation where you go to a landlord, the property is available, you discuss it, but at the point where you're talking about rent control, and then the landlord says, okay, I'm not going to give it to you. Do you have any, rights under the Rent Act?
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, the refusal to rent out the property would mean that it is based upon disagreement on the rent, and in that situation, what would come of aid to you is evidentiary or documentary evidence, and in the absence of that and its word of mouth, it will be very difficult to enforce your rights. You see, the rent out was couched out during the socialist era, that's during Nkrumah's time, and it is very meant to protect the tenants themselves, so that if you have a landlord who would expressly say that to you in your course of negotiations and all of that, and you can show either by email trace or by these days WhatsApp and all of that, then you could go to the district court or the rent magistrate and have that right asserted.
Christian, a question. I mean, do you really, Christian, do you really want to start off your living relationship with your landlord from a point of, I took you to court so I could pay 6 months?
That one too will be very problematic.
That is the problem.
The relationship should be cordial, but even where your landlord seeks or would want to make life unbearable, you have the law protecting you. You know, even where your tenancy expires, the law makes you a statutory tenant, that the landlord cannot evict you unless he goes to court for repossession and ejectment. You see, so the balance of the law is tilted so much to the tenants, but most of the tenants don't know the power that they have. I don't know where the landlord would want to act against
Christian, I don't know if it's about power. I don't know if it's about power, because I really want us to have a very realistic conversation about the living. Like, have you ever had a landlady breaking anointing oil bottles and communion wine bottles behind your window in the middle of the night trying to evict you? Like, what does the law do about that in the middle of the night when they are breaking the bottles?
So that is the landlord doing everything to induce you to quit the rent, and that one you can take the landlord to the district court or the rent magistrate, have him restrained. So that's why I'm saying that the rent laws are very protective of the tenant. The landlord cannot come and do anointing oil behind your window at 12
a.m. You haven't met some of the landlords.
Persons like that, persons going through such pain and turmoil should have recourse to rent control, and the officers would have them go to the right forum, or they could all the same get to lawyers, and the lawyers will fix them by writing probably letters to the landlord and reminding them of the rights that the tenants have under the law and all of that. Ghanaians should be more vengeful, so
it's all of this free, Christian.
We've developed the law.
Is all of this free? I mean, you're talking about lawyers and writing letters. Is all of this state funded or is it free? Or this one too is from our pockets?
Oh, you see, legal aid too is there. So for those persons
Okay. All right, okay. Nice one. I think you've answered my question. Thank you very much, Christian.
But you never know. Most law firms in Ghana have it as part of their budget to do some pro bono cases. So you never know. So you just knock on any door of a law firm and you could satisfy that budget for the pro bono. You never know until you.
Christian, we want to put out. Are you willing to put out your number so people can come to you for pro bono?
Pro bono.
I would have wished, but if only General Legal Counsel would have allowed me.
Wow. Christian, don't go anywhere. We want to have a conversation with some of our listeners. So we have Aku who's calling us from Ho. Aku, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, what's your question or what's the issue you'd like to raise?
Please, I want to ask if they are taking 2 months or 1 month as an advance. That is not an issue. The issue is this. How frequent are they supposed to increase the rent? Because the landlord can take only 1 month and decide to increase it every month. It can take 2 months, 2 years, and you have your peace, and it takes 2 years to increase.
Okay.
And the rent control man, I think he's always at the office. Can he tell us how many houses are tenable in Accra? He's just at the office. He should change his coat, wear his boots, and go to the road. Thank you.
Wow,
right,
Aku, that's a little savage.
Yeah, but I mean, he is wearing his coat here now because he's coming on the show. I don't think that. Plus, there are officers who go out onto the, in the ground.
Don't mind our listeners. They are very troublesome.
We get more pressures more than this.
Okay.
So we have the shock absorbers.
So you are used to it.
Let me talk to Akwe, and then you can come and answer the 2 questions. So Akwe is also calling us from in Sawam. Akwe, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Okay, so what's your question or what's the issue you'd like to raise?
To the program. It seems the rent officer is talking about the rights of the tenant, and we've been left out. The rights of the landlord.
All right.
Some tenants think that once they've paid their rent, utility is another issue. They don't want to pay their utilities.
Oh.
I have a tenant in my house who claims that she traveled about 2 weeks, or I think 3 weeks, so she will not pay electricity and water. I want to find out from the rent officer whether she can be ejected, or once she has paid her rent, I should still allow her to stay in my house. I want to find out from there.
All right, Akwe, before the rent control officer comes in, I want to understand, the person traveled for 2 weeks.
Or 3 weeks.
Exactly.
So they traveled for 2 weeks. That's like half the month. So half of the time.
Her outer light.
Okay.
I have an outer house.
Okay.
That is where she occupies. Her outer lights were on 24/7.
Okay. And probably her fridge.
Tell me she's not going to pay utility for that month.
All right.
I want to find out whether
I get it.
to still maintain her in my house.
All right. I get
This
it.
is the problem we've been having with tenants. They think once they've paid their rent, that is all.
All right.
They will not do anything.
Akwe, now that we have you on the phone, can you tell us what are some of the other issues apart from they refusing to pay utilities?
Please come again.
I'm saying now that we have you on the phone, can you tell us about some of the other issues you're having with the tenants apart from not wanting to pay utilities?
Thank you very much. The tenant will not sweep.
Hey.
Initially, I told them, look, you can't come and stay in my house without sweeping. You will not believe it. I'll be sweeping. The landlord will be sweeping while the tenant is asleep. All because she has paid her rent.
Okay, so sweeping, which other issue?
And then lateness. You see, I did initially the house. I did not build the house for renting.
Okay.
That's my personal, but I have outer houses. So a tenant comes around 11, 12 midnight, only to come and wake up to come and open a gate for her. Some of these things.
Akwe, why won't you give the tenant a key?
A key.
Yes, I did it. I gave her a key. But upon a second thought too, I realized that sometimes whilst I'm asleep around 10, 11, 12, my padlock is outside. So there is a probability that somebody can break into my home.
Okay.
You see, yes, I've given her a key, a spare key, to get access to the house. But sometimes you can lock outside and then you are in. But please, now the way the system is, somebody can easily break into your home.
Yeah.
Somebody can easily break into your. These are some of the few challenges I'm going through.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Akwe. I mean, we've been hoping to get to hear from landlords, so it's good that we got you to call. Thank you. Thank you very much. So a number of issues have come up. Yeah.
So, Nila, the first issue about frequency of increment. When you look at Section 19, they say landlord prohibited from collecting rent increase resulting from increase in rate without notice. This means if iron rod price has gone up, cement price has gone up, even the road in front of the house or the premises has been tied, it's nice. You, the landlord, have no right to, based on this, to sit in your corner and then increase rent without notifying the rent control department.
All right.
If such things are done, you report to us, we come and do what we call reassessment. If assessment has been done already, we take into consideration all those factors and then we increase the rent for you, give you the assessment certificate where we indicate how much you have to charge for a period of 2 years. So within the period, if another improvement has been done, you have the right to come to the rent control. And it's not only the landlord, the tenant also has the right to come to the rent control for reassessment. Of course, if the building or premises is dwelling in is deteriorating, you cannot keep on paying the fixed rent that you were being charged. You need to come to the rent control. If you come and we see that it's deteriorating, we'll slash the rent down so that you can be compensated for the period you are left with. The issue about
sweeping.
Okay, when you look at section 17, it talks about what the landlord can stand on to apply for the order of eviction. I'm saying this continuously because the landlord, so far as you put your premises on the commercial platform, there are rules and regulations that might guide you. You cannot say you build your own premises, you bought your own iron rod, you bought your own cement, so you have right to do anything you like in the premises. Now your premises is on commercial platform. It's in the public domain, so the rules might guide you. Of course, no tenant has the right to owe you as a landlord a month's rent. You can stand on this and apply for the order of eviction. If you want to dwell in the property yourself, maybe you travel somewhere, you want to come back, you have the right to apply for the order of eviction, where we can assist you to do that. But this notion in the minds of tenants that when you are being evicted, you should be given 3 months grace period, it's not in our laws. People even go to the extent that that 3 months should be free. There's nothing. If you look at section 31, it talks about nothing should prevent the landlord from collecting its rate from any tenant. If you've paid your annual rate or the property rate for a year, and you come to bill in my property, then you are moving out, you say I should divide that property rate into how many sections, then give you 3 months free. Who is going to pay for that? So there's no free rent, and there's no grace period. The scenario is that if you come to somebody's premises and you want to dwell in for a year, getting to the third or the second month to the end of your tenancy, you should start conversation. Start talking to the tenant, the landlord, whether you renew it or you want to vacate, so that the landlord, because it's a commercial venture is dwelling in, can start also looking for somebody when you move out to come and dwell in. But you wait to the end of your tenancy before you go before the landlord or run to the rent control department that you want grace period. And then also the grace period must be free. Just as I said, there's no grace period and there's no free rent.
Okay, so still there are at least two issues I want you to deal with quickly. There's this tenant who Akwe, as he indicated.
Okay.
You were away from the property for about 2 weeks, and you come back and say you won't pay utility bills. But it says your light is on 24/7.
Okay.
And I'm sure there may be other gadgets in the building, maybe your fridge that's still on.
Okay. So the issue basically is that when the landlords are taking in the tenants, the basic thing they have to give is the tenancy agreement, where your rights and responsibilities, your duties and all those must be spelled in the tenancy agreement. Of course, if you cannot write as a landlord, you can come to the rent control department. We can assist you in drafting one. Or you can see Chris and his colleagues as lawyers. They can also help you to come out with a tenancy agreement. So this should be the basics. Before even you collect money from the tenant, you have to issue this tenancy agreement.
So you tell the tenant in the agreement that you have to sweep.
Exactly. No, you see, under section 17 again, subsection 1C, it talks about causing nuisance and annoyance, using the premises using the premises for illegal and immoral purposes. But when such offenses has been committed in the mind of the landlord has no right to forcefully eject the tenant. The landlord has to come to the rent control department, who pass through the legal means, just inviting the two of them, do an investigation. If necessary, we have to pass it to the rent magistrate. We do that for the magistrate to declare that illegal and immoral purposes offense has been committed. So based on that, you have to move out of the premises at this particular time. So the landlord has no right. It's not that the law is citing on the side of tenant. Just as I said, you have the right as landlords under the Act. The tenant too has a right under the Act.
All right, well, thank you for that. Shall we take a few more phone calls? Let's go to Bolga and speak to Gabriel. Gabriel, good morning.
Good morning. How is the morning?
I'm okay, great. So what's your question? What's the issue you'd like to have addressed?
I think that you are more emphasis on the tenant than the landlords.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Gabriel, I believe you're a landlord, so you have an issue. So please bring your issue up.
Okay. I said it.
Go ahead, Gabriel, we're listening.
What I'm saying is that you people are building much on the tenant than the landlords. So the laws are too much.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Gabriel. We've also spoken with Akwe, who is a landlord, and he's laid out the issues. Let's go to Denzel, who's calling from Cape Coast. Denzel.
Israel.
Yes. Let's hear you out. See, and again, the conversation we're having is about what we need to do or what you expect.
Israel.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So I'm saying the conversation we're having is what you'd want to see change about the rent law. It's beginning to, it's turning out to be like a rent court, but that's not what we're trying to do. So we're talking about what we need, or what you want to see changed about the law. Yeah, okay, Denzel, let's hear you.
I think the rent law should affect the landlord and then the tenant as well.
Okay.
You know, when the officer was explaining to issues concerning how the tenant is to pay advance, he was emphatic on 6 months rent advance. But my question is, if the tenant decides to give you 2-3 years to cover his or her ass, what about that one?
Okay, thank you very much.
Then my second question is,
yes.
If a tenant is occupying your premises, okay? And there are some renovation works on the premises. To the landlord factor it in the next rent advance or what should be done with the expenditure done. That is the expenditure made by the tenant.
All right. Okay.
What's the say on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denzel. Let's go to Boateng, who's calling from Manso Nkwanta. Boateng, can we hear you?
Yes, I'm also a landlord.
All right.
And I want to contribute a little bit of your discussion.
Please go ahead.
The law is a little bit tilted towards the
tenant.
The tenant.
Yeah.
In the expense of the landlord. A tenant comes to the house to rent. There are conditions, and it becomes a contract. If you enter by looking at the laws of the rent law, from 1 month payment to 2 months, and you enter, and the person violates that law by giving the conditions, cleaning their house, doing this, coming in late. Tenants are the people who normally leave the main gate. They don't close it. They do a whole lot of things. But anytime there is a tenancy issue, the law, the society move to the tenant side. One example, the law says landlords should take 1 month rent. Let's assume that I am a landlord. I also have children who are yet to go to schools, universities. I have to pay their bills. I have to pay their fees. And I have given you 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, and you say you can't pay, but you are going by 1 month. That 1 month rent will never suit the landlord, because then once you rent it out, it has become a commercial issue, and you need to gain because you've also borrowed the money from somewhere.
All right, thank you.
So the law should always look at it well.
Yeah.
Consider the landlord, the behavior, and the education should be well educated to the tenants, because they know when you pay, the house is yours. You become a quasi owner, but it is not yours.
All right. All right, thank you very much, Boateng, from calling from Manso Nkwanta. We'll take a last call from Reverend Sapong, who's calling from Cape Coast. Reverend Sapong, let's hear you.
Cement should be reduced. Iron rods must be reduced. Prices gone up too much.
Okay. Are you a landlord?
And the stone and sand, the price has took up because of fuel and it's just too much. We are tired. The government should do something for us.
All right.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Sapong.
It's interesting. I'm listening to some of the landlords. I mean, to be honest, they sound like house masters, and you must. Why am I sweeping? And you are sleeping, and Let's talk about flexibility, right? So when you live in a house and there's a sweeping schedule, because in the process of my finding time, I found that sweeping is a big thing. It's set for, I don't know why. But there's a sweeping schedule, and your landlady or your landlord wants you to wake up at 5 a.m. and sweep. You're like, why do I have to wake up at 5? The point is, there's some of these very rigid things. So, you go out at 11, you've gone out, you've come back late. When you're renting from somebody, do they have that right to infringe their values or how they want things done on you? And then secondly, it talks about illegal and immoral things being done. Well, what are these illegal and immoral? If you can classify for Israel, please.
Okay, so the last point, immoral, illegal, we know our culture, we know our society. Selling weed, smoking in somebody's property.
Smoking?
Yes, weed. Okay. Let me be specific. Or inhaling those substances. All those things are, but as this has to be determined by the magistrate. Okay? So if you see somebody bringing this packet of these things into your premises, you don't have the right, again, it's not that I'm stressing on tenants. The landlords have their rights under the Act. Tenants also have their rights under the Act. It's there for both landlords and tenants. So when the questions comes, we answer based on them. So if the landlords brings the question, we answer in that direction.
Okay.
And not that we are citing on the side of the tenant.
Okay. Now, what about the super whatever of
the
values?
sweeping on those things?
Yeah.
You know, again, under section 17, subsection 1E, it talks about deteriorating somebody's property. Okay? If sweeping, weeding, and those things, that has been your right. Let me quickly. It says where the condition of the premises, in the opinion of the magistrate or judge, deteriorates owing to act or waste by or neglect or default the tenant or any person residing within it. So if it's your right to make sure that the place is weeded every week, or the place is swept every day or weekly, and you don't do that, you, in the opinion of the magistrate, if he or she sees that you are making somebody's property deteriorate.
It's not so much you don't do that. You know, like, for example, the gentleman we spoke to said, when I'm sweeping, she's sleeping, which means that he wants it to be done at a specific time.
Yeah, those are the infringement of the person's human right. If I can sweep 9 o'clock in the morning, that is within the day. You can't specifically tell me to wake up 4 a.m. and to sweep. Okay. You are infringing on my human right.
Okay, that's
so
what
this
I wanted
where
to clarify.
we scrutinize the tenancy agreement before we give you the go-ahead to go and collect the rent.
All right, let's get to Christian. Christian, so the conversation we're having this morning really is about what we need to do about the current Rent Act, because the government is considering reviewing it. So we're having these conversations so that we come up with we get to know some of the things that are bothering people and what they would want to see change. So from the conversations, what would you suggest that we do about the Rent Act? Well, some of the things we need to change. One of the things running through, if you'd realize, people are saying, the tenants are saying they want the rent to be paid on a monthly basis. Is that something that's feasible?
I mean, that has already, for me, is provided for because if it's for a short rent, it's monthly, and if it is a long rent, maximum payment is 6 months, and you pay it in 6 months blocks. You know, so for that aspect, it is dealt with, but. The interesting thing for the landlords include probably the amount payable will not be.
All right, the connection to Christian is bad, but I'll come to you in this.
Yeah, so just to continue from where Chris is, you see, investing in real estate is a long-term investment that you cannot build your premises now and within 5 years you want to recoup your money. That's why the six months is there. Just as I've mentioned, a lot of landlords are suffering. Because if they take the 2 years and something happens, then they have to cough. You see, within the period, the tenant can flout any of the laws. You have to apply, and then when we ask you to refund the money, now you have to tell us to wait for us to get somebody to pay the 2 years, which is also illegal again, before you can get your money. But if it's within 6 months, you can pass through 1 or 2 steps, you organize yourself, we push that tenant away, then you get a fresh tenant into your premises.
Right, so you're in the process of reviewing the law.
Yes.
How or what do you intend to do about this aspect, about how long someone is supposed to be paying for, whether 1 month or 6 months? What are you doing about it?
Okay, so what we are considering is to take the inputs of the landlord. It's a stakeholder the dialogue we are doing now. The concerns of the landlord is that the 6 months will take a very long time. Okay, in any case, when you get loan from the bank, they take the monthly repayment. And not that you take 2 years, you go and pay, you have to wait for another 2 years before you come for any rent. But we are still considering them to increase the 6 months to 1 year.
Right.
So tenant will have the right, or landlord will have the right to collect monthly up to a maximum of a year instead of the 6 months we are having now. So this one of the consideration we are thinking about.
All right, and one of the things that has come up is, you're in a house where the landlord says, okay, you're supposed to come home by
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. how do you intend to manage a situation like that?
No, that one is clear, that you cannot induce somebody to quit, or you cannot infringe somebody's human right. You know, in drafting the tenancy agreement, you need to take consideration of our constitution. You need to take into consideration what we call a universal declaration of human rights. You do need not to infringe on somebody's human right. So when you bring the tenancy agreement to our office and we see such provisions in it, we cancel it, because the constitution supersedes any other laws in the country. So we scratch all those things for you to go and redraft it and then come back to us before we approve it.
Aren't you being unfair with to the landlords, because they have genuine issues, as we heard Mr. Akwe saying. So they have genuine issues. Is it fair to just strike things out like that without, finding a way around the problem? You talked about the 6 months now going to, you're considering in 1 year. Why don't you have a conversation with the landlords and even the tenants, solicit their views, and let's find a way out?
But let me answer that for you. For example, Israel, instead of having a padlock, which remains open once the tenant hasn't come home, it makes more sense to actually key the gate. So solder it or whatever, put the lock inside, and then you can lock it from inside, you can lock it from outside. So when I'm going to bed, I lock it, I pull out my key. When my tenant comes home, she can open it and come inside. We have to be reasonable, because you're giving out your house to adults. So you don't expect that you'll keep a padlock outside and say, come back at 10 o'clock, otherwise I'll be locked out. I mean, we need to move from a very,
Which way it is. I mean, I think there should be a conversation. Let's agree on some of the things. So, we've talked about the 6 months going to 1 year. What are some of the other things that you're looking at?
So we are also looking at these hostels and apartments across our universities. Though the law provides that rent control should take charge of it, but this time we are going to take full control over these apartments and then control the rent or the hostels fees they charge. We've heard that we are still considering there is a petition before the Speaker of Parliament, which has been passed into our office, to consider the outrageous charges along our universities.
The dollar charge.
Again, the issue about agents. Collecting 10% left, 10% right.
It's 50 cedis for every viewing.
No, that is what they call the moving fee.
50 cedis for every movement.
Aside the moving fee, they now charge you
10%.
10% from the left and from the right. But the law provides that after the tenant has taken possession of the place and the person has paid his or a rent advance, that's where 5% of the rent advance that the tenant has paid to the landlord will be deducted and be given to the agent.
So who pays the agents? The landlord or the tenant?
Under Section 25, subsection 1C. It says every person who in respect of any premises, being or acting as an agent or broker, or go between demand or receive for its services in connection with the procuring of any grant, renewal, continuance, or assessment of a tenancy, any condition which exceeds 5% per centrum of a recoverable rent for a year of such premises commits an offense. And the offense, if you are culpable, you pay an amount, of the 10,000 or to imprisonment, or if the landlord or the magistrate so wish, can combine these two fines. So the issue is that when you introduce somebody to a landlord, it's the landlord who has contracted you, because if the premises is not vacant, you will not know until the landlord tells you that I have a vacant premises, go and get me somebody to come and occupy. So it's the landlord who has contracted you. That's why you've got the power to write on your billboard or wherever, 2-bedroom house for rent, single room for rent. So if I'm working, looking for an apartment, and I see your billboard and I called you, and you show me the premises, that moving fee is illegal. So when you take me to the premises, and I like the place, that's when I will pay. After the payment, the landlord will take 5% for the job you've done. Just like the general insurance business. They've contracted sales agents to go and look for clients. When they bring the client and the client come to pay their premium, that's where a commission is taken and given to them.
You know this is
But
not
you
how it
don't
works.
charge.
Right? You know this is not how it works on the streets, right?
No, we call them Goro boys. So just as I said, the new law, the new act that we are considering,
all right,
we are going to train them, issue them with license and certificates.
Okay.
And be publishing their names as frequent as we can, so that if you as a prospective tenant, you want to
Decide
deal with
not
any
to
of
use.
them,
Okay.
you look through the accredited people, and then you deal with them. If any of them go contrary to the act, we just withdraw the certificate or the license.
Okay.
And then we just cancel your name
That
out of the
sounds
premise.
good.
So these are some of the things we are considering.
Okay.
Christian, so we've been having some challenges with your connection, but I hope we can get to speak with you now. So I'd want you to tell us what are some of the things that you want to see change.
Yeah, some of the things that he has spoken of, they spill over into the real estate bill. Yeah, some of the things he's saying, they spill over into the real estate bill. So that one, the Rent Control Act cannot extend to that aspect, you know. But even though in general, all those matters deals with housing and real property, but dealing simplicity with the rent control laws, the areas dealing with agents are more expressly dealt with in the real estate bill.
All right.
Now, issues of people or persons.
Chris, Mr. Kwasu wants to make an intervention.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris. So the Real Estate Agency
If I may conclude my submission.
Now, I just want to make a comment that the agents are categorized into two. There are some aspects of agents. If you go and rent or be a betweener for more than a year, that's where the Rent Estate Agency Act covers you. But if it's below 1 year, then that's where the Rent Control Act, which we are considering now, also come effect. So there are two categories of agents we are dealing with in the two acts. So you can continue
Chris,
with your
please continue.
submission.
Oops. Okay, looks like Chris's connection.
Chris's internet is annoyed with you people.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Kwasu, any other issues that you're thinking that we should be amended in the new act?
Yes, so you know, we are still thinking it's 1963 Act, but there are some relevant provisions there which still can be enforced.
All right.
So the three basic things I've mentioned are the major issues on the table now we are discussing. So if they are agreed on, then that will be factored into the old bill. That's where we change some small things and then.
Now, there's some tenants, let's take this one quickly. There's some landlords too who, when you approach them, they will tell you, you tell them, okay, I'm Inzim, or from this particular tribe, I'm Ever, or something, and then the landlord will decide, okay, I don't intend to give you the property. Is that fair?
No, it's not fair. But just as you mentioned, it's not specifically stated in the Act. But sometimes based on some experiences they've had from different tenants. I can specifically say an example of some of our foreigners who comes in. They just come in as, I'm coming to dwell in alone. Before you realize, there are about 20, 30 in a room. So when you are coming, the landlord will have to be sure whether you are from that side of the world. So that when you are from that side of the world, of course, he knows the notion is that you are from that side of the world, this is your behavior, so I'm not going to give it to you. So just as I said, it's not explicitly stated in the Act, but based on the experience of the landlord, they consider.
But if you're renting a property, now that you brought it up, if you're renting a property, are you supposed to indicate the maximum number of people you're going to be in the room with?
Yes, you know, it's an agreement, and you have to come out in good faith. You have to tell the landlord all what you have in your mind, so that if the landlord, based on that, can consider you, then he does. Because if you are coming as one person, and now you are 20 in the room, you see, you are going to put so much pressure on the premises, which means the lifespan of the premises is going to shorten. But if you tell the landlord that, yes, we are 20 that we are coming. And then based on the strength of the premises or the structure, it can accommodate you. Fair enough. So you have to be in good faith in declaring whatever intention you have.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Hovito. So he's a PR for the rent control. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course to Christian, who joined us via Zoom. And of course to you for taking part in this conversation. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about your prostate. Yes, you. So don't go anywhere. Still the AM show. Well, welcome back. Like I said before we went on the break, we are talking about your prostate, and joining us, our friends from ProstaJoy, Ghana Herb Therapeutics, Nutifafa Techi is here with us, and we're going to have a conversation about the product. So, okay, I see Ghana Balm. If you just zoom into the products on the table, we have the Ghana Balm, and then we have ProstaJoy. Presumably giving joy to your prostate and balming everything that hurts. So, Theo, do you want to just tell us about the product?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity and good morning to your team listeners.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, I'm from the Ghana Herb Therapeutics, formerly Herbal Research Center, and our vision is to produce herbal medicines scientifically with proven safety, efficacy, and quality. For the past years, we've always been claiming herbal medicine does this, does that, anecdotal claims, folkloric claims. But we don't really have empirical data, scientific data to support all the claims that we allude to with herbal medicines. So people have a lot of skepticism about the usage of herbal medicines. So we are here, we are in this space to produce herbal medicines with quality, with proven safety, efficacy, and affordability. I mean, it should be affordable to the users. So our flagship brand is the Ghana Balm.
All right.
Ghana Balm, it's the most powerful pain relieving balm at the moment in the country.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the leading steam inhalation balm in the country at the moment. And it's the most powerful anti-inflammatory balm in the country. It's produced scientifically from serious herbs.
When you say it's produced scientifically, what does that mean, or as opposed to what?
For instance, in production of Ghana Balm, okay, we could just crush herbs and put them in petroleum jelly. Okay. And that's it. You go and sell. Okay. But what we are saying here is that we actually extract the active ingredients from the herbs. Okay. The phyto ingredients were extracted scientifically, concentrated scientifically, and the dosage were determined, the therapeutic dose, the dose which, when you apply it,
will work.
You determine that dose before we produce. And after the production, the safety is assessed at institutions that are mandated to do that. Like the Center for Plant Medicine Research. And the efficacy is also tested. In the case of Ghana Balm, we did a scientific work on it, where we induced rheumatoid arthritis in the paws of rats, strict dolly rat to be specific. We use attenuated tubercle bacilli. That's the bacteria that causes tuberculosis, but attenuated we have killed. And we induce this inflammation. You see the paws of the rats very inflamed. And we apply Ghana Balm. 3 days, it recedes. While those that are on just water, you see the hands deforming. And the pain still there, the inflammation still there, which makes Ghana Balm the most potent anti-inflammatory or anti-pain balm.
That's what you mean by
science. Yeah, you must have science. Backing. All the claims that you make, you must have science to back the claims. It's high time we start promoting herbal medicines based on scientific claims, data. Not just anecdotal or folkloric claims.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. So the Ghana Balm is for inflammation, it's for body pain.
Steam inhalation.
Steam inhalation.
You know, it's the #1 steam inhalation balm in Ghana.
Okay, so steam inhalation
since last year
is the hot water.
Hot water, you boil half bucket of water to boiling point, 100 degrees Celsius. Then you add 1 teaspoon to it. You cover yourself. You steam inhale.
One teaspoon.
1 teaspoon. It's just a teaspoon.
It's a balm.
Yeah, balm. A teaspoon.
About saline, the hot water.
Okay. Yeah. So once you keep on stirring, you keep on inhaling the steam. If you have asthma, it will go. If you have congestion, nasal congestion, nose congestion, chest congestion, COVID-like symptoms, where you steam inhale, it goes.
Oh, okay.
The flames, everything goes.
All right. So it's essentially, you don't. If you have this, you don't probably need to worry about maybe the neem tree kind of.
No, because it's concentrated in here.
All right.
Okay. Instead of going to the bush to cut neem tree and all that, you just use it because this has been certified to be safe. Safety is very important.
Certified by who?
By Center for Plant Medicine Research. Certified that it's very safe. You can steam inhale this and it's safe. The data is here, the evidence is here, that when you steam inhale Ghana Balm, it's safe, and safe.
Okay.
It's proven, it's certified.
All right.
You can't just claim it. You have a document to support it.
I love that the focus is, the
document to support is safe, it's efficacious. You need to do that.
Okay, so let's talk about the Prostate Joy for a second. What is Prostate Joy for?
Yeah, you see, men of 30 years and above, you surely experience enlargement of prostate. It's natural, it's hormonal. Everybody, I don't know whether you're 40 years or 30 years, you surely develop.
At some point.
I don't know, but you should be. You are a man, so definitely you have enlargement of your prostate.
At
it's natural.
At some point. Okay.
From 30 years and above, you surely develop it.
How do you know when your prostate is getting bigger? I don't have one. So
signs and symptoms are displayed, or you experience signs and symptoms of it. Like divided urine will be divided, frequent urination, you have pains when you're urinating, you have weak stream urine.
Okay.
The urine will not have that parabolic, when you were kids, you can urinate, it goes like this.
The one that you compete.
When you are aging, your prostate is growing, you urinate. And
what do you know about that?
I used to see the boys standing by the wall. Mine can go the furthest.
So if the prostate is enlarging, you can also go to the lab, hospital to check your PSA to see whether that enzyme is high or low, or the size of the prostate. If it's high, if it's big, they'll say BPH, that's benign prostatic hyperplasia, is the enlargement of the prostate.
Okay.
And all the signs will be there, symptoms will be there. I can only recommend one herbal alternative for you, which is Prostate Joy.
So this is for when it has enlarged, or can you take it as an anecdote?
Yeah, I'll get there. When you are of age 30 years, you can just take one capsule daily as a prophylactic for prevention.
Daily?
Daily. You can take it for 1 month, then you go off 1 month and take it again another month, just to keep the prostate intact.
Really?
Yeah, it's very, very important. Keep your prostate intact.
Because I'm thinking, if you don't know that you have a problem, why do you take it?
No, as a prophylactic, for maintenance.
Is it safe?
You don't wait till it's.
Because I'm the kind of guy who just wouldn't want to go into any medication, take any medication at all. So why do I just?
But isn't that the good thing with herbal medicine, though?
Does it mean you'll be there till the disease strikes? Boom.
I want to be checking to find out if it's okay. I mean, if I need to.
Yeah.
You know, I'd want to take medication on a need-to basis rather than
basis.
Prevention.
But
prevention is the best.
Nutifafa, isn't that the reason why that perhaps herbal medicine is always a good alternative? Because the thing about herbal medicine, I'm assuming, is that it doesn't come with some of the side effects that regular medicine comes with.
Is that
this notion is not always true.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not always true. You need to prove everything here. See, we've done about 3 types of safety on Prostate Joy.
Okay.
Acute safety at Mampon, Center for Plant Medicine Research. Chronic safety, because prostate medications or alternatives are taken sometimes for life. So you need to do the chronic safety as well, which we've done. And we've done one called cytotoxicity safety, where the cell lines, the human cell lines, are grown outside the cell, in vitro, outside the cell, and they test again to make sure it's safe on the cells.
Okay.
So with Prostate Joy, the safety, acute safety is right, the chronic safety is right, and the cytotoxicity safety is right.
Okay.
We have an SI selective index of 20, which makes it very, very safe. So you can take one daily as a prophylactic. Okay. But when you show the signs and symptoms and all of these, you take one early in the morning before food, 1 hour before food, then you take one late in the night, and your prostate health is solved. All these that I'm saying are all here. Some from Noguchi, they are all here. Everything is here. One Point Research, they are all here. It's all about empirical evidence.
Let me
supporting
share, some. Okay, so we have this one from
Center for Plant Medicine Research.
So this one is from the Food and Drugs Authority. Certificate of registration of a herbal medicine. And so this to certify that Prostajoy, if we can pick this one, Prostajoy is registered for use in Ghana and is subject to the provisions of the Public Health Act 2012, Act 851. And it's, so it talks about the active ingredients. So it's Morinda, Lucida, and Momodica charantia. Okay.
Then we have Critolepis sanguinolenta.
Okay.
Then we have, which is the last one? We have Philanthus neureri, which is the last one. And all these plants, we didn't just crush them and infuse them into the capsules. No, we extracted the active ingredients before formulation, and we made sure what we've extracted is active. It's really working before we use them in formulation of the capsule.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we have this other one, Center for Plant Medicine. Yeah. I'll share that as well. Yeah. So it says report of analysis on Ghana Balm. Okay. So this is one for Ghana Balm. It says please find attached the results of dermal toxicity, microbiological, and phytochemical analysis on Ghana Balm and herbal medicinal products submitted for testing on April 2018. Okay, so yes, you brought stuff to prove.
For the steam inhalation.
Okay, so this for from the Center for Plant Medicine Research. There's report of analysis on Ghana Balm. Please find attached results for acute toxicity analysis on Ghana Balm, herbal medicinal products submitted for testing on April 4, 2018.
The last one, try this one.
Okay, and this one is from the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Certificate of Analysis, sample Prostajoy, name, sample description, multi-plant extract, test results, cytotoxicity assay, test for anti-cancer activity.
Right.
Okay.
All this were done.
All right. So, well, we had to make sure that we got these things before we could bring them on air for them to talk about it. And, well, we're happy to have had you, and we've heard all that you've had to say, Nutufefa Techi. And yeah, you can go ahead and put out your phone number so that people who are interested they know what to pick.
For free consultation, you call us.
Consult?
Yeah, we consult as well.
Okay.
0244 727 028. 0244.
Okay, so the number is actually on the screen, right? 0244 472 7028.
Yep.
And then 024 475 4380.
And we encourage Ghanaians to accept or promote plant medicine that has evidence-based plant medicines for our safety and for efficacy's sake.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now we know, and now that we know, we can use for our health. So thank you.
I probably want to try the Prostajoy.
Yeah, I want to try the Ghana Balm, the inhalation. Yeah.
Okay. For asthma.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that. And we're going to take a short break. But first of all, let me apologize that we're unable to bring you Opanka. Nothing we can do about it. Really sorry.
How could Opanka disappoint? Opanka was supposed to come perform for you.
Opanka will come back at the appointed time. Though the vision tarries, wait for it. It will surely come to pass. Saith the Lord to you, Israel, this morning.
Amen.
Anyways, we're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.